What was that?
That's the shit I like. That's the shit I'm all about.
White shirt, now red, my bloody nose sleeping. Your own, your tippy toes creeping around like no one else. Think you're so criminal. Bruises on both my knees for you. Don't say thank you or please I do. This is the playoffs. Meet your crew at B-Dubs. Roar!
What are we talking about today?
Nostradamus, Tesla, and Einstein. And maybe Trump.
Einstein?
Huh?
Einstein.
Tesla stock through the roof, by the way.
Not that Tesla.
Oh.
Nikolai Tesla. I think that was his name.
Nicholas Tesla.
Fucking hate it.
Remember, we were in a small room.
He doesn't care.
Buddy,
There'll be.
it's in no way it's going to smell worse than your ass right now.
At least it's my ass.
Yes.
And it's very,
It's confined to him.
yeah.
You're shooting it out to go around the room.
Yeah. Come on, don't even.
Don't try and pull that shit.
All right, this is Drama's Nicholas
Social
Tesla.
networking is like a fart.
Hey, Root.
Hey, Root. Root?
This is what I like. Travis.
You people know a lot about trunks. Bing, bing, bong. Bing, bing, bong, bong. Bing, 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 bong. Bing, 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 bong, bong. Bing, bong, bong. Bing, 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 bong, bong. Bing, 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 bong, bong. Bing, 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 bong. Bing, bing, bong. Bing, 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 bong. Bing,
This is
bing,
what I
bing.
like.
You're either gonna like the song.
Is that one of the ones that you've played like 5 times?
About Stephen Lynch.
Makes you smile when you hear say hi. You love the smell of a burning cross in the yard. You do goose-step salutes in your Doc Marten boots.
Baby might be a Nazi.
Yeah.
In our 5th anniversary card. I think you're a Nazi, baby. Are you a Nazi? You might be a Nazi, baby.
All his face.
Keep extensive files on the Nuremberg trials. And you watch
You ready?
Yes. Oh, should we do audio?
Oh, yeah. Check audio.
can't hear myself.
You can't hear yourself?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Hot, 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 hot.
You're definitely plugged in.
Hot.
Here. By the way, we're live.
Hot.
Cool.
Hot.
Check. What's there's nothing wrong.
Check. Oh, it just doesn't seem like it's coming through.
Okay, I can turn it up more.
Oh,
Better?
okay, yeah.
Oh, that's kind of too loud.
I don't care either way.
I can turn the headphones down and him up. How's
Yeah, yeah, that works.
Is that good?
Talk.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
In the chair. In the
Jesus
chair.
Christ. It's still too loud. Just my headphones are.
Oh yeah.
Oh, you didn't? Okay.
All right. How are the levels? Actually, I'll tell you how the levels are. I'll tell you how the levels are. All right, go ahead.
Testing 1, 2.
Go.
Duh.
Okay. You can go up a little. You can go down a little. You want less.
Yeah.
How's that?
Travis, say something.
Yeah.
That can work. Maybe a little bit down, and then, cause like, yeah. Travis, say something. Yeah, it works.
Okay, cool.
So you said we're live.
Yes.
All right.
I think. Yes. Facebook has a new thing. Form or interface for going live.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, 29 frames a second. Wow.
Hey guys, welcome back to another week of Two Junkies, One Podcast. I'm Travis. This is co-host Nick over here
Nick.
with his 6 new dreads. Show him the
Yeah.
dreads, Nick.
Oh, but like it takes so much work. I gotta take. All right.
Show him the dreads.
You guys dreads, you got it.
Like take them off
Yeah.
completely. All right.
Oh yeah.
All right. Let's see what we got here. So this is the new look for like 2 weeks until they calm down a little bit. Maybe want to lay down closer to my head, but this is what we're working with right now.
As I walk through the shadow of
The Valley of Death, and take a look at my life and realize there's nothing left. I've been laughing and blasting so long that even my mama thinks that my mind's gone. This is what we're working with. It's 4 hours of work.
Was it painful?
Everything except for like this one right here. Like all 18 were fine, but then this fucker right here, like I was like crying.
Really?
In the fucking chair. Yeah, but also I'm a little bitch, so like.
I was gonna say that. You beat me to it.
But like my fucking finger tattoos didn't hurt, and there's like no meat there. Like the S was the most painful thing I've ever felt, and that hurt more. Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just decided to wear hats every day
Yeah.
instead of getting haircuts.
Yeah.
So today we're going to be talking a little bit about, going to try to tie all these in together. Nostradamus, you know, he was able,
Little hunchback,
apparently.
right?
No. Did he? I don't think Nostradamus had a hunchback. Oh, you mean?
the Nostradamus, the Hunchback of Nostradamus.
Yeah, is that not what it
No.
Wait.
Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Oh, okay, yeah. Okay, keep going. You
All
may
right.
continue.
So Nostradamus apparently was able to predict the future. He actually predicted his own death and a few other things that we're going to go over. Einstein and Nicholas Tesla,
Mm-hmm.
who they said themselves that all of their ideas were not their own. They were put there by something else, that the blueprints would just pop into their mind. So I think that it's going to be interesting. Do you know anything about these three guys? I hope you know some about Einstein.
I know some interesting things that he said about like lucid dreaming, and like most of his equations were done while he was asleep. But then he would just have to wake up. He would work them out in a lucid dream, and then wake up and write it all down, and they were correct. So like that's what I know about.
One of the
things
things
about
I saw, one of the things I saw with Einstein was him actually saying like, that he would get the schematics for these inventions, and they would literally just be like, he would see, it was like he was looking at a blueprint in his own head, and they would just be there like almost instantly for lots of the things that he was inventing, and they would work out. He said that's how it was with him with the what was it, the law of relativity? Yeah.
No, I don't know if he did that,
Uh,
but that is a thing.
Anyway, so yeah, but anyway, so Nostradamus, I actually think it's pretty interesting. I'm really bad at remembering research I've done. I've got some of it pulled up on my phone. So what he would do was get in this meditative stance, and he would have this kind of bowl with this black water in it, and he would just literally put his face into the bowl, and that's how he would get his predictions. Like a couple of them. Here's some. These aren't the ones I really want to talk about, but like the death of Henry II. The young lion will overcome the older one on the field of combat in a single battle. He will pierce his eyes through a golden cage. 2 wounds made 1, then he dies a cruel death. So King Henry II of France lined up to joust. I can't pronounce this. Comte de Montgomery, young lion, both had lion emblems on their shields. On their final pass, Montgomery's lance burst through the king's visor with 2 shards, one through the eye, pierced his golden cage, his helmet, and one through the temple. King Henry II suffered for 10 days before dying in his bed. So that's one of them.
So, question about it. So these predictions came out before.
Yeah, 19. I mean, not 19.
It was like 1855.
Yeah, 1850. No, 1555.
Yeah,
Yeah, 1555.
So the predictions, were they translated and known at that time? Like, did King Henry know about the predictions?
No.
Did anybody in that time besides?
I mean, there was
know
the
about
books
predictions?
so Nostradamus published, like his books,
Mhm.
of his prophecies, and of course, like you're not gonna know what the prophecy means until it actually comes true.
Yeah, and then
That'd be with anything though.
and then they were translated after the fact.
So the first thing I read was his actual what he actually wrote.
In his words, 100%. That's what it was. It wasn't in.
I mean, like in whatever. I don't know what fucking language Nostradamus. I want to say French, but yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, they're a lot. The Great Fire of London, the blood of the just will be demanded of London, burned by fire in the year 66. The ancient lady will fall from her high place, and many of the same sect will be killed. The actual event, a small fire that started in a bakery in London September 2nd, 1966, resulted in a 3-day blaze that consumed the city. The blood of the just could refer to the millions of rats that were killed.
Could.
Yeah. I mean, it's all interpretations. But the one that I first ever read that got me into looking up Nostradamus From the depths of the West Europe, a young child will be born of poor people. He who by his tongue will seduce a great troop, his fame will increase towards the realm of the East. Beast ferocious with hunger will cross the rivers. A great part of the battlefield will be against Hister. Into a cage of iron will the great one be drawn when the child of Germany observes nothing.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Talking about Jesus.
No. What? You're
I don't
fucking
know.
with me, right? Hister.
I mean, yes. Hister?
It says Hister. It's like one letter off of Hitler, and it's talking about Germany and being born out of a poor family. Hitler seduced people by his speech, and
So, question.
yeah.
How many of his predictions were way off?
A few.
Just a few.
I haven't read all of them. I think he has like 555. And you don't know, like, some of them are for like the year 3000, and then like, so
Because it could just be playing odds at
Yeah.
this point.
yeah, you could be.
It could be like, oh.
But I mean, like,
which would also then mean that the predictions were just hogwash and were just.
yeah, I get that too. But the one about what people interpret as the one for Hitler was pretty, other than saying Hister instead of Hitler, it seems pretty accurate.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, but it also could have just been like if he would have say he were to have 500 predictions, and like 30 of them were to hit. At that point, it doesn't seem as much of
Yeah, but you also have to think like,
seeing
so
into.
it's 1555.
Yeah,
There are like terms that he uses that just seem weird for someone that would be in 1555. Like in 1555, other than like what, swords and whatnot, how are you, like, so this is about the atomic bomb, or people interpret as the atomic bomb. Near the gates and within 2 cities there will be scourges, the like of which was never seen, famine within plague, people put out by steel, crying to the great immortal God for relief.
what does that have to do with a nuke?
So that's just what it was interpreted as, I guess. So I'll read the event, I guess. In 1945, the United States dropped 2 atomic bombs on Japan and Hiroshima and Nagasaki within 2 cities. Many endured the blast and suffered radiation poisoning. I don't know, man. Leave me alone.
No, no, just no.
I like to
you
believe.
you said your part, and I'm
Yeah.
gonna say my part on that, and then it can be a thing. That was a stretch.
Yeah.
At least that last one was. Actually, talking about Germany and somebody born from a poor family, and then using his speech. That one is it seems almost very clear. But then to say 2 cities, famine, begging God, looking up to the skies, something about steel, and then being like, dude, like eventually in this world, two cities are gonna experience hardships,
Yeah.
which is then gonna cause famine, which is gonna inevitably cause them to be like praying to God, like, take us now, you know?
I get that. He also predicted, which I thought was interesting. So like, Christianity talks about like the coming of one Antichrist, right?
Mm-hmm.
He predicted that there would be 3. And most people believe Napoleon. He predicted the one about Napoleon seems pretty accurate. Hitler, and then one that has yet to come.
I don't think that Hitler was the Antichrist.
Okay. No, I'm just saying like what, I don't know how to respond to that. I'm just saying what like he predicted in terms of.
Yeah, but like to say that it's gonna be an Antichrist, and then the like person given and be like, oh, this is one of them. They gotta kind of be the Antichrist. They have to show signs of being the Antichrist.
Hitler showed signs of being the Antichrist.
What about him was Antichrist? wasn't anti-religion. It was anti-race. It was anybody who looked like.
The Antichrist isn't just like. That's not. So the Antichrist in like Revelations is said to be one of the like, and I'm of course talking modern terms and paraphrasing, one of the most charismatic like people that you'll meet, be able to like win people over with a smile, win people over with his speech. He'll take over a large portion of society and seem like he's doing all these good things when behind the scenes he's going to be doing evil. And I mean, Hitler did kill 6 million Jews. It wasn't just Jews, but
true. Like I mean, I get that, but like also it could have just been a disconnected thing.
Yeah.
I mean, he wanted power.
Yeah, I don't.
He was a
believe
human.
I don't believe either way. I mean, could he have been? Yeah. Was he? Probably not.
Yeah.
I mean, but I think it's just an interesting dynamic to look at. The fact that like Christianity teaches that there's going to be one coming of the Antichrist, and there's this guy from 1555 who lots of people believe his predictions do come true, predicting that there's 3 comings in the Antichrist, and then scholars who interpreted his prophecies believe that 2 of them have already come about.
Who in the Bible said that there was going to be an Antichrist?
It's in Revelations, Old Testament.
So who was being quoted at that point? Was it in red writing? Was it God himself? Or was it
technically? I don't. What are you asking me?
Who in the Bible? Because the Bible is based off of writings from like hundreds of people, all writing through God, or God is writing them through other people, but it's all coming. Anything in red writing is coming straight from God's mouth, like verbatim. So depending on if God said it, if we're talking the Bible here, and depending on what your beliefs are, if God said it, then it's only going to be one. If he says there will be one Antichrist, there's going to be one Antichrist. But if it was translated through another person, and then they said their own side of it, then yeah, maybe it could be. But depending on who said it, it is cut and dry at that point.
So I'm not sure who. I do remember like quote. I'm looking it up so I don't murder it. So it's in John and Revelations mainly from what I'm seeing.
Yeah.
Thessalonians. Thessalonians. I can't pronounce it. Matthew, Daniel, Revelations, John, Revelations. So I mean, but what I was talking about before when you were like he wasn't anti-religion. So John, who's the liar but he who denies that Jesus is the Christ? This is the Antichrist. He who denies the Father and the Son.
And where Jewish people deny that Jesus Christ is God. So even if
and then more in John, and every spirit that does not confess Jesus is not from God. This is the spirit of the Antichrist, which you heard was coming and now is in the world already. But Revelations, I read I'm not Christian, but I read Revelations just because they're fucking weird.
Any Old Testament's fucking weird.
Yeah.
I got a good Revelation story.
But there's one that I was looking for, the one that we were
Do you want to tell your Revelation story?
Yeah. So this is actually how I became an atheist too. I'll get a camera for this because this is like part of it. So, you don't mind, do you?
No.
Okay.
No, you're good.
So when my dad used to take me to church, and I don't know if you remember in church when did you go to church?
Yeah, my dad's a pastor.
Oh, that's right, you told me that. So you know how they take the kids up in the beginning?
Yeah.
Yeah, and they like do some cute shit.
Oh no.
Like in the sometimes like
Depends on what denomination.
right. So a lot of times in like the mediocre ones, they'll take the kids up in the beginning and they'll do some cute things so the kids say some like all the darndest things or whatever, and then they take them to the back to make like Jesus sculptures out of macaroni and eat donuts and shit. And my dad would never let me do the macaroni and donuts part. He would keep me in the just riveting over there. He would keep me with him in the pews, and I would get really bored. And so I would read the Bible because that's the only thing I had to do. And so he was like stoked on that. And I found Revelations. And Revelations is badass. There's dragons. There's like 7-headed dragons and like fire and bleeding angels. And
As they worship the dragon.
yeah.
For he had given his authority to the beast, and they worshiped the beast, saying, "Who is like the beast, and who can fight against it?"
Yeah, there's like dragons and
Yeah.
stuff. And it was awesome to read. When my dad, he saw what I was reading finally, and he took the book from me. He's like, "No." He's like, "Not that part."
Yeah.
And I was like, "What do you mean not that part?"
It's the fucking Bible.
And so that's like the first time I like it that I was like, "Wow, this is horseshit."
Yeah. I mean that's completely.
Yeah.
I think that there is definitely some interesting real parts in there, but also I feel like a lot of it, because it's all been translated and none of it's raw anymore, and most of it, anything that wasn't in red writing, was bias, because they say that God told them. I have a hard time believing wholeheartedly everything. I think there is something above, but that's just me.
No, I don't believe in like hardly anything in the Bible.
Yeah.
But
Marble.
But this one, Revelations 13:3, one of its head seemed to have a mortal wound, but its mortal wound was healed, and the whole earth marveled as they followed the beast.
So you realize you're just reading Bible passages at this point.
Yeah. Yeah, I just realized I was doing that after I did it. Listen, so
And in that accent, and people would just switch in. They're like, "All right,
Time to go.
so I had a bunch of stuff written down in my docs on my phone, and I can't find it.
Of course."
Like, no, legit.
What do you
Okay.
mean?
You want to see how many I
Yeah.
have? But
What should be the newest one?
no,
right?
my phone it shows the ones that you opened last.
How many have you opened since then?
I do the bank stuff on the phone, my rent stuff, all that.
Oh.
But this might be it. No, that's the old one. Anyway, I'm sorry.
World-
Fill that time, boy.
World
Yeah.
War III. Let's just talk about World War III. We're the bad guys.
World War III. World War III's not gonna happen.
It's not gonna happen. But
There are no bad guys in war. It's all ambiguous.
well, I mean,
Everyone thinks that they're the good guys usually.
yeah, but I don't. I don't think we're the good
Well,
guys.
yeah, but you're also not participating in the war if there was one, and you're not the
With-
one who started it.
with the information that has been given to us, even like with what has been said in the news, our news, it is very clear that we are the bad guys. We killed 1,000 people to kill one
Okay.
who was doing their job as commander.
All right.
Or
So
general.
there's a boat. There's two boats. One has 300 people. One has 400 people.
Do the
Both.
float?
Yeah. Well, they're both sinking, and you
Oh.
can save one boat. Which one are you gonna save?
Is this the Dark Knight? This is the Dark Knight.
No. Well, kind of. It did have this in the document. So there's a boat, two boats. One has 400 people. One has 300 people.
Do I have like a transcript of everyone that's on each boat?
No.
Do I have like pinpoints?
No.
Then I'm gonna do the one that would be the easiest to save, the one that has the highest chance of success.
No. You're guaranteed that you're going to save one.
Can you guarantee that? Like, what's
It's
the
a hypothetical,
What's
buddy.
the name of the boat?
Oh my God, you are killing me.
I don't like this analogy.
Let's just go with it.
Okay, then I'm gonna save the one with 400.
Okay, that boat starts to sink. It has to split off now. there's 200 people on one boat and 100 people on another boat.
What happens if you save the 300?
Huh?
What happens if you save the 300?
Are you coming up with this on the spot?
Kind of.
Is this like a pick your own story?
It was actually on a really like psychological anime I saw, and I can't ever remember
Well,
how
Travis,
it went exactly.
I'll let you know that you said, do you want to save the 400? Said, yeah, I'll save the 400. And then you're like, okay, then that boat splits off into two. One with 200, one with 100. Where's the other 100?
Okay.
Where'd the other 100 people go? I don't like this analogy. It's confusing.
Oh yeah, no, it was something like
Judah says he has footage of you in your bed, or in his bed.
I have footage of me
He said-
in Judah's bed while he's asleep.
Who's Judah?
My roommate.
Oh, okay, that makes a lot more sense.
He says one like, and I'll publicize footage of Travis in my bed.
Okay, where do I go to like this? Am I liking the
Judah,
live
I
stream
think
or
that
no?
harms you more than it harms me.
Got a consistent 5 years this entire time, but they're probably gonna drop.
Yeah, because I done goofed.
Did you?
What
get-
were you? What was the point you were trying to make? Just say your point, not an analogy.
The point is like, so we don't have all the information. We don't know what was actually happening. We only have the information that our news outlets have given us and our social media outlets. We don't know if there was a planned attack, if there was going to be an enticement or a riot that was going to happen because of this general. It may have been more efficient if you're looking at it from a totally cold stance and not a humanitarian stance to kill 1,001 people than to let 2,000 die.
I mean, if you think of it like this, do you think Trump killed him?
No,
Okay.
no.
So at the end of the day, a general who's been in the area and has been informed in the area for years probably is the one who requested it.
Yeah.
It wasn't Trump. Trump was just like, okay, he's the one who chose to be an asshole and
Yeah.
publicize it and shit.
Well, I mean, the biggest like,
Well,
because from what the information that I've been given and that other people have been given and that I've read
I've been
on
given
my
shit
own,
information.
not
Yeah,
even
okay.
just doing like American news, because you're not going to get the information you want from American news on American topics. You're not going to get unbiased opinions. Best thing
you're
I
not
found
gonna
is
get
BBC.
unbiased anywhere. I mean, BBC is.
Sometimes,
Yeah.
depending on what
Dude,
part of
they're
BBC
worse.
you're looking
They're-
at.
Dude, do you think our media is liberal? Theirs is like hyper liberal.
For getting unbiased.
I mean, if you're liberal, it's unbiased.
No, then it's biased.
It's biased.
But not to
Biased-
you.
it's
I don't-
biased, it's biased.
So I don't look at just
I don't know.
BBC. I look at BBC. I look at just any.
Reuters is probably the only one that's unbiased, and that's because 90% of their articles are generated by bots.
So let me.
So,
How's that work?
they generate articles from like very basic facts.
So
I think that's what Reuters is, and Associated Press is the same thing.
let me ask you
That's
this,
my
Nick.
podcast now.
Do you read when you're reading an article? Do you read the comments on under the article? When you're watching a newscast, do you read the comments under the video?
Occasionally, and mostly I look for the way that I've found that can be effective is if it is a controversial thing being talked about, and it really goes on if I care about it or if it would be something interesting to talk about on the podcast. I'll go through, and if someone says something that is like trying to disprove what the video was talking about, if they give a specific thing, I will look at that. I will look into that specific thing, and not looking to prove or disprove, but looking for the truth. Because in the grand scheme of things, I don't fucking care what happens.
Yeah, there also is no. I mean, this is the truth. If you want the truth, the truth is
Your mom's
X amount of people died because of a drone strike that somebody in our government did. That's the truth. You're not going to get any more than that. You're not going to be able to find any more than that. Anytime
Well,
we
what you
try
can
to
find is things that happened before and things that happened after.
How do you know those things are the truth though? We're not over there. We're only able to see what is
'Cause
shown to us.
No, we can see what happened over there. We've got all the access in the world.
Okay, give me an example.
Looking at Iran's news,
How is that not biased?
because it can show what they've done. It can show what they've done. They could say that they have attacked the embassy, or they can say if there will be media coverage in any way on Reddit. You can find pictures of if something happened just from people, not the government, because the government does not control the people as much as people like to believe that they do. If you take a picture of something, you have that picture. Unless they take it off of your phone, you can share it.
So you're
and it
seeing
not be taken
you're seeing
down.
a picture. Have you seen the picture of the dude holding the grocery bags in front of the tank?
What?
He the standoff with the tank.
No?
What do you? That's like one. It was on like the New York Times and everything.
I only look at news whenever it becomes a meme.
Dude, it has been a meme.
Oh, I'm sorry. My bad.
Anyway,
Dude.
Nick, can you pull that picture up?
What do you want me to pull up?
The standoff with the tank.
What, Tiananmen Square?
Yeah,
What?
just for Nick.
Oh.
Yeah. So anyway, there's this picture.
I probably have.
There's this picture, right? And it looks like this dude's having a standoff with a tank.
He gets flattened.
Huh?
He gets flattened.
Yeah. Anyway, but it's showing this one angle, right?
Uh-huh.
When you zoomed out and saw the whole picture, which came out recently, he's outside of an army base while tanks are coming out. It looks like this dude was trying to, in the actual picture and how it was phrased in the time, he was trying to protect other civilians from the tanks coming in.
Yeah.
He was standing outside of a base
Yes.
while tanks left.
Yes.
Which is still courageous, but it's a different truth than what the truth everyone else was showing. So if you have a
The
picture,
truth is always a
No,
protest.
I know, and I
Yeah.
get that. I do. Oh, yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah.
I do agree with that. But if it were something like, it's not just going to be one picture. That had a second picture that you saw. On Reddit, if you're on the right subreddit, if you're not even take it off of Reddit, if you're on the internet deep enough, and I were to see a picture of, let's say it was Iranians attacking the embassy in Iran. Let's say it was that. The comments from that picture are most likely, because the only reason most people are going to be taking a picture is so they can share it. And if they see something that differs from the picture that's already been posted, they're going to comment that picture. And the person who posted the original picture can't get that deleted. The mods could, if they wanted. But that's where you are going to be able to see both sides of it unbiasedly.
I mean, to an extent, man, there's always going to be bias.
I mean, there is always
It's impossible
bias.
as
There
a
is no unbiased.
It's impossible for as a human to not be influenced by what you hear around you.
True.
It's absolutely possible. Whether you go the opposite direction of what somebody's trying to influence you to do, or whether you actually follow the influencer, you're still being influenced.
Mhm.
And no matter what you hear, even if it is completely unbiased, your preconceived notions and what you've been brought up to learn, and the people you hang out with, and your stance on humanity and everything, and social economics and everything else like that, is going to make you have a biased opinion, even if you think you're being unbiased. So like if someone that video that we were watching of Trump with the girl, right?
Yeah.
Someone who doesn't care about Trump but has a Republican family, and then someone who doesn't care about Trump but has a Democratic family,
Mhm.
right? The chances of the person who has a Republican family but doesn't really give a shit what Trump does either, or seeing that and it's like, oh, he's at a party, are much higher than, and the person who has a Democratic family seeing that and who doesn't give a shit about what Trump does, seeing that and be like, oh, that's kind of gross.
Then it's because there's political views and then there's personal views, where like that coming from two different people, because
your political views are personal to you.
but that one person, the Democrat could also be a womanizer. Not saying that that's what was going in the video, but that's just like the best way to put it. The Democratic person could be from a Democratic family but doesn't care about political views, or could be Republican and be a womanizer at the same time.
The point I'm making is, so I'm 25 years old, right? I'm 25 years old, and almost a month on a dot. So let's just say 25 years old and 25 days. So everything I've done for the past 25 years and 24 days is going to change my perception of how I view you. Every
Yeah.
single thing I've done and experienced
Mhm.
is going to change how I view you.
Yeah.
That's what I mean by you see something and you believe it to be the truth. That's why there's no actual truth. You believe it to be the truth. I'm not going to view it the same way as you in any means, so my truth is going to be different. So when someone says I want the truth or this is the truth of what happened, no, it's not, because you're already putting your preconceived notions on everything you believe
But you
on
don't.
it.
There is a truth, and people, no matter what their bias is, have the capability of telling the wholehearted, 100% truth.
But
That is
it's
something
not
that
black and white like
it
that.
can be.
But
It can be.
I don't believe it can.
The truth, a truth right now, is that you're fucking wearing slippers with no socks. That is a truth. 100% truth, is it not?
Some people don't call these slippers.
But if you were to look up a fucking slipper and see those, then that's just
He has a point. Though.
that's just saying things with different names, is it not?
Who has a point, Nick?
You do.
Yeah. Some people don't call these slippers. So to say that these are slippers, if someone who doesn't believe they're slippers, you say, hey, you're wearing slippers, that's not their truth. That's a lie to them.
You're also arguing about arguing.
Yeah.
So, what you got?
Hmm?
What else you got on the docket?
Oh. Fuck, man.
You said Nikola Tesla. What did he do?
Oh, no, we already talked a little bit. I just wanted...
You burned through the three
Yeah.
things?
Yeah.
Nikola Tesla...
No, so where I was going with... Where,
He lost his fucking notes.
so where I was going with that is, and what I had down was the intervention of something higher in these major moments in human history, and that if the evolution of humans and the things that we've invented are actually our own accomplishments.
I think, because I wanted to say this whenever you're first bringing it up in the little intro section. I mean, I've had things like that. Like, I feel like if you have a knowledge on a topic, like you know how to build things, it will just come to you. Be like, oh shit, this is how I would do it, and then you go and you do it, and it's right because you have the knowledge ahead of time. I mean, like, that happens with music with me sometimes. So, like, oh, dude, that'll be fucking cool. That'll work. And then it works. But then also there's other times where it doesn't work. So I believe that that's how ideas happen in general.
I mean, yeah, but that's not exactly what I'm talking about. So I wanted to bring this back to AA. In the book, it talks about conscious contact.
Mm-hmm.
So I've had moments where I'm meditating, I'm deep into meditation, I'm being very sincere about it, and I always pray before and kind of during my meditation, I'm being very, like, I'm deep into it, and something that I've not thought about, that I've had no intention of thinking about, that I wasn't trying to think about, I have no real interest in, comes into my head, like, hey, you should call this person and ask them this question. And I get out of my meditation, I'm doing it, ends up being something that really needed to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Like 100%, like if like times where like I've called a friend and they were on the brink of relapse, or times that something in my life, hey, you need to call this person and ask them to sponsor you instead of keeping your sponsor, even though I wasn't going into the meditation thinking about recovery or AA or anything, and then I talked to that person, ends up being really good for my recovery or things like that. So that's what the book talks about with that's how I interpret conscious contact. But the way Einstein and Tesla phrased these things popping in their head, it wasn't like, oh, hey, that could work. I know I already have this idea of like how this could work. It's literally like the schematics are just shown to them.
Mm-hmm. I still think that with my knowledge of, I'm just gonna use music production in FL Studios. Nothing out of that, because that's all that I know. I don't know about music, but I know how to use a program. Right now, I'm not thinking about making a R&B beat right now. I know how to do it because I have the knowledge of how to do something, but I don't know how to do that specific thing. but I know how all the mechanics work in it. Right now, it could pop in my head, be like, oh, that is going to work, and then go and do it. I feel like they were geniuses. They were brilliant. They saw things
to
in
an
different.
extent, Einstein couldn't tie his shoes until he was like 6.
But in their field, they were brilliant.
Yeah, but that's the point I'm trying to make. Was that truly their field? Yeah, I mean, to an extent, yes, but like the way that I've seen their quotes and of like Tesla and everything, and how him building the Tesla coil was like he had when the idea he literally said like when the schematics came to his head, he had no idea what the fuck it was for.
I mean, I'm not.
I mean, I know some meth heads that know some pretty crazy modding. Maybe they just didn't come up with a Tesla coil.
I think that your brain is something that you can't understand and never will be able to. And which, talking about the brain, whenever you were talking about in like in your meditation, whenever something would come in your head to call somebody, I truly believe that there is a.
Amer says hi. Say hi to Amer.
Amer.
Amer is one of the guys who always comes in and tells us to do on YouTube.
Oh.
And he also is huge into conspiracy theorists, Tesla, Nostradamus.
Oh, so he probably thinks I'm just slaughtering this topic.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's okay.
Hey,
You
Amer.
don't necessarily have to do a good job. Just be passionate about it.
Yeah.
On the topic of the brain, which I can see how this could be a conspiracy, but really it's like a spiritualism
Is it real?
type of thing. The brain, is it? No, the brain's real. And it's in there.
What do you call the brain?
The brain?
Yeah, what do you call it? You call it the brain?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, maybe not everyone calls it a brain.
How do you know your brain isn't
So-
just a bunch of numbers and codes put there by the motherboard?
I believe that there is a, and this is
Dude,
gonna,
I gotta
this is gonna
piss
tie into
so bad.
You gotta pee?
So fucking
I'll
bad.
take over.
All right.
it. Okay, I'm gonna hold this until you get
You can-
back because I want to.
If you want to have a real conversation about it, you can do it with me. Because this idiot's not going to be able to field something about the brain.
I want to have both perspectives on it.
Oh, yeah.
I want to have like a truthful perspective and then a Travis perspective.
Okay. So, I know what we can talk about.
What's that?
We can talk about that racial appropriation on top of your head.
Oh shit.
So
Here's my main thing of why like I say that, like, for one, I don't have the right to say that it's not. I do not have that right.
okay.
But I can say that the lady who did it didn't seem to have a problem with it.
Oh, I guess she represents all black people.
No, I'm just saying, like,
So, by the way, it needs to be Al Sharpton, Jesse Jackson in a pinch, or who else represents all black people now? I think
no
there's
one.
I know, but like
Oh.
I think those
Can you pull that away from here?
I think those are the ambassadors.
So do I have to like call and ask them?
Yes. Yeah. And the only way to reach Al Sharpton is if you give him $5,000.
Well, looks like I'm just gonna have to deal with the problems that could ensue from it.
Yeah.
But like, really, like, I can just plead ignorance on the topic.
You could.
And
Yes.
I feel like I don't have the right to say why it's not cultural appropriation. I also don't have the right to say why it is, because I don't get to make that decision. But what I do get to do is do with my body I think looks cool. And like, if it's a problem, like, I'm sorry.
And it's actually, no, we're both wrong. Well, you didn't say an answer, but the one person who does represent all black people is most definitely Candace Owens. Do you know who that is?
No.
Yeah, I know you know who she is.
Who is she?
She's a black libertarian female that basically goes against most grain of I guess common social African American politics.
Oh, okay.
So she's not necessarily, but if to most people she's a Fox News talking head. She doesn't work for him, but she's a libertarian and she's black. I don't know. That's her shtick. She's badass.
She's stick.
She's extremely smart and well spoken, and she fucks everyone's days up. All right.
It's called racist, dude. A lot. That she hates black people.
But she doesn't.
She doesn't. Oh, dude, you smell like you just have cum everywhere.
That's a good possibility.
All right, let's talk brains.
All right.
I truly held it because I want to get both sides.
I'm leaving.
Oh no. I truly believe that, and this ties into what you said about like having to call people and feeling the urge to. I think it also plays into where like you could be walking next to somebody or like sitting down with somebody and you can sense that something's up, even if you don't really know them, and you ask them and something is up. Just being able to tell the difference, even if you don't know somebody, I think that there is some higher consciousness that we all kind of stem from. Like, we all have our individual conscious, but we're tied together in some way, shape, or form. There kind of has to be at that point. Call it vibes if you want. I think that's kind of fucking stupid to say that everyone has a vibe, but I think that it is noticeable and you can pick up on it.
Yeah, they proved it in the 60s.
Oh shit! Yeah, so I'm smart. I thought I came up with this on my own.
I know I sort of know the evolution of it.
Oh, for real?
Do you want to talk about it?
The evolution of it?
Of what he's speaking about, everyone being connected and whatnot.
The only thing I've heard when it comes to evolution of that is like from the base very sense that that almost everyone started with the very instinctual brain and it grew from there, and just that. But that's all I know.
That's a different field. No,
Okay.
From what I'm talking about, it's not wrong. It's just you definitely could go with that. But no. So transcendental meditation, which I think the room picks it up.
Okay.
Actually, probably not. Maybe not. So. This is just all bad. So the guys who do transcendental meditation base their stuff off of these yogis that have been around doing the same thing for like, what is it, 6,000 years?
I don't know why you're looking at me.
Is it like Hindu shit's like 6,000 years old? I think so. It's like one of the first languages is Sanskrit.
Yeah.
And its shit was based in that. And so what their thing is they are able to get into the transcendental field is what they call it. And it's a state of mind where they can access what they say is higher perception, interconnectivity, blah blah blah, yada yada yada. So in the 60s they were breaking atoms like they were before and looking at smaller particles, and they've found even smaller particles now. But they went like low to the particles are super small, and they found there's this field that exists that sort of is connected, and I'm terrible at this, but it's connected through time and space. Whenever it connects everything all together all the time. Yeah. So like a star blows up light years away, and it's affecting us now in a way. Yeah. Not it's taking time. It doesn't obey the normal laws. And so in the 1960s, they're like, hey, we found this crazy field or whatever. And then the hippie people, well, not the hippie people, the Indian people, well, hippie people, because they were doing the transcendental meditation, they're like, yeah, we've known about it. And they scribed it, and they're like, no, you don't get it. We found this field that connects everything, blah, 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 blah. They're like, yeah, we know about it. We had access to it for thousands of years. It just took you this long to catch up. And it was one of the few times where pseudoscience and science actually kind of like intersected. So yeah, so you getting that feeling is common, and I think honestly, in my opinion, is we just don't know what that is yet. Could be us part of the matrix, could be higher creation, could be pure science and just way things are functioning. Yeah. But yeah, there's no. There. I feel like you can get.
Yeah, I'll fix the mess.
It always just looks like a limp peen.
Peen is still my favorite.
The brain
Wait.
is the house of the whole soul. Soul being consciousness. The pineal gland
Peen.
is the peen gland is the radio receiver through which we all communicate telepathically to the universe and each other. We are all brain cells in the mind of God. Evolution is false and gay. That's what Eric had to say.
Evolution is false?
It's false and gay.
How's...
Hey, Eric.
Gay as a derogatory.
Eric.
Yeah, but what did that have to do with evolution?
Eric, have you...
Saying it.
Oh, it's just...
he's just being a dick. Or does he actually believe that?
He's fucking around, but I do believe that he believes most of this.
Okay.
In some shape or form.
I was going to say, have you ever seen a tadpole turn into a frog?
Have you ever seen a tadpole turn into a frog?
Yeah.
I don't get it.
I'm not with you on that one.
No?
It's not really evolution.
Is that a joke?
No.
I think he was trying to make a point.
Oh, it's like that's evolution in
On like a small scale,
yeah,
I guess.
on a very small scale.
But also, that's just like evolution.
your evolution.
Yeah, your evolution.
That's not evolution though.
The basis of
Not
like
really.
on what all humans should aspire to be.
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
All right.
My main thing is like you look at a fucking
Whoa,
like a capuchin monkey.
Capuchin. Did you see the capuchin monkey that broke the glass?
No.
Dude, he sharpened the rock, and straight up like, have you seen The Rock? The
Mm-mm.
movie.
Oh.
The movie The Rock.
Oh.
Like, welcome to The Rock.
Yes.
Nicolas
Sean-
Cage,
yeah.
Sean Connery. Oh my God.
Dwayne Johnson?
No.
No.
The movie The Rock.
Yeah, dude.
Oh my God, dude. You have seen it?
No.
Oh. Oh my God. It's a Michael Bay classic. But, anyways, he's in there and he stomps his chair on a quarter to, he's in a interrogation room.
Mhm.
And he smashes a quarter with his chair, so it's sharp, and he does a circle on the glass and punches through it, so he can.
So the monkey did that.
So a monkey did that with a fucking stone.
Monkeys
At
are
a
like
zoo.
geniuses.
I mean,
I believe that monkeys
they're
are.
not doing calculus.
No. Listen, I think that monkeys.
They eat their own shit.
I think that monkeys. I mean, so do I sometimes. I think that monkeys
Gross.
are evolving, and that they are gonna become the next top species. I think that is a possibility in this earth.
Retarded.
Yeah, I am. I mean, I don't know. You never know. You never know what's gonna
I
happen.
know I do know.
No, you
I know
don't.
that's not gonna happen.
No, you don't. How do you know that?
I just know it's
How
not
do you
gonna
know
happen.
that? You don't know that.
I think cockroaches are gonna take over.
I mean,
I've been watching anime lately again.
whenever the nukes finally get dropped,
What are you watching?
I've a bunch of shit at once,
Doesn't
but
Titan come out soon?
the new season it'll be probably March. But Terraform Mars. It's about these. Never mind. I don't know, it's fine.
Okay.
All
alright, buddy.
So yeah, do you know what psychoneuroplasty is? The retraining the neural pathways in the brain.
What is that?
Keep going.
Have you ever like the most simplistic version way to explain it is like have you ever tried to brush your teeth with your left hand, or what hand is your dominant?
Right.
Yeah, okay. Have you ever tried to brush your teeth with your left hand or throw a ball or basically do anything? And it
Yeah,
seems
fucking
like there's a
sucks.
mental blockage.
I'm ambidextrous for myself.
Yeah, Nick makes a jack off joke.
I am though.
Okay.
I'm serious. I can do both. I train myself.
Yeah, but like, and it feels like there's a mental blockage when you go to try to do it with your non-dominant hand.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
really hard.
Okay.
No, that wasn't a joke. It was really difficult.
Are you saying just for masturbating?
Yes.
Like
I
anything,
am-
teaching yourself
I
to
am
do.
only ambidextrous for that.
Why? So you can still hold your phone
Yes, phone and like I had to retrain because the phones became a thing.
So that's why you get a pop socket.
and just set it down.
But
I
anyway,
switch a lot.
so because he's out of shape and gets tired.
No, I switch videos.
Oh.
Like it takes like 40 videos for me to,
What?
and I can't ever really watch them again. Yeah, dude. That's why I run.
I find like a 10-second clip and
Dude,
just
just
like,
watch PMVs. It's
fucking-
40 videos mashed into one.
but it's with like fucking anime music playing in the background.
No, you can get any music.
Even then, it's just music. It's not the part.
Music. If porn has
Okay.
music in it, I can't watch.
You don't need music then. Just do a compilation.
No.
Nah,
That's someone else's compilation. I know.
That's what other
editing-
people like.
I know what editing's like. Someone put that together, and I'm like, ugh.
Okay, well, y'all are weird. Anyway, so it's like, so if you practice brushing your teeth every day with your non-dominant hand, that's training a new neural pathway in your brain to open up,
Mhm.
and eventually it just feels like you're doing it with your right.
Mhm.
So that's like on a very base level what psychoneuroplasty is. It's just training new neural pathways in your brain.
Yeah.
But you can do it with almost anything. I think that's a lot of what AA is, having that major displacement of emotions, ideas, and what's the third one? Emotions, ideas, and thoughts. I don't know. Anyway, is just psychoneuroplasty over doing the work over a period of time. It's retraining your brain. And lots of people call it a spiritual experience. Call it whatever you want. I don't give a fuck.
But no, I mean that is retraining your brain is a very legitimate thing.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like, cause like, and I really realize it whenever something happens. Like, if just like right now, I don't realize that it's a thing that's already happened to me. But like, whenever some shit goes down, and my first thought isn't just to break down and go hide in a corner, my first like reaction is either a good coping skill or just get this shit done.
You almost watched me die the other day.
I asked if you were coughing.
How am I going to respond when I'm choking? That doesn't come across my mind.
You were just coughing regularly, just a really hard cough, and then you just stood there, and I couldn't tell if you were about to throw up or if you were choking or if you were coughing. And I'm like, are you okay? That's why you're supposed to ask if you're coughing, because you can break ribs with the Heimlich remover.
Heimlich remover?
I'm gonna remove your Heimlich.
Right.
And like,
No, that was actually scary though.
Yeah, but like whenever I'm screaming, "Are you okay? Are you choking?" and you're just looking away from me, like I can't. You know, because if you're just coughing and I just start like fucking hitting you, and just like snapping ribs, and then you're not choking, and you're like, dude, why the fuck did you break my rib?
I would just break his rib anyways.
Yeah.
Fuck him.
Just break the rib.
No, so like after years of having to use my left hand, my right hand feels like my non-dominant now. Like, of course it does. I'm a gimp, but like if it wasn't, it would still, like, when I think about, like, because it's like I have even though the fingers and appendages are there, it feels like they're not most of the time.
Mm.
Well, this is hard to explain. So it's mainly phantom limb. Like, I feel like when I'm moving it, like past that, I feel like I'm making a full fist.
Yeah.
Even though I'm not. So it feels like sometimes lots of the time when I'm not focusing on anything, like there's nothing wrong with it. So like when I think about brushing my teeth with my right hand, it seems very difficult.
Mhm.
I don't know.
Well, yeah, it's training.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the same thing with anything. You've got to practice something to be able to do it. Like,
Not me.
yes, you do.
I just don't do anything.
Yeah, but where this becomes a problem is, say, because right now you're trying to learn how to play games with just one hand, right? You're doing that while you can still use this hand. That way, if your right hand just completely shits itself and you can't use it at all, you have no movement in it, you have that to fall back on. You have that single hand control to use to fall back on. If you didn't do that, it would either be a super depressing time of your life, or you would just never pick up games again because you're like, I can't do it. But you're training before something happens.
Well, yeah, just from past experience, because I was a big PC gamer and everything, and then when my hand basically got worse overnight, I couldn't do it anymore. So I just gave up on games altogether. I played phone games here and there.
I have an idea for that. And, like, genuine idea. Um,
I'll just use a controller on a PC.
no. You can still use the mouse to move, unless like your arm goes out. But right now it's looking like it's just your hand. You can still use the mouse with your hand or with your arm motions, and get 2 foot pedals just for right click and left click, because really you're not supposed to use the mouse wheel for anything except for I used it for jumping in Counter-Strike, and then you're supposed to use the 1 through 4 to change between things. That's how, like, your left hand is supposed to do most of the work except for aiming, shooting, and like scoping in, which you could do with pedals. You only need 2 pedals. You could still be playing PC games without, even if you had no mobility in your hand at all.
Huh.
Yeah. The left hand does most of the work anyways.
I'm building a PC.
You are?
Yeah.
What do you got?
So far I got a case. I need a graphics card. That's about it.
Oh, you got the motherboard, hard drive. Oh, good for you.
Yeah. Yeah, I need a graphics card and probably a new processor.
Oh, so 2 most expensive things on the
Yeah. Yeah.
I need a better computer. I still have that shitty laptop that can't do anything.
So what time is it?
It is 6:30.
Okay.
You're going for about an hour.
Yeah, we're gonna call it that. This was bad.
No, it was not actually.
No.
You could work on some things, but
I think that it was. I think it was
saved
okay.
by like ripping on you.
Yeah. Well, whatever works. All right, so we're gonna call it that. Oh yeah, so guys, we are going
How many
to
words was that?
What?
How many words was that?
What do you mean?
So
We are not going to be live streaming the podcast anymore. What we are going to be doing is me and Nick are going to live stream playing video games twice a month.
Every other
Starting
week.
out probably every other week, and we're going to be recording the podcast and uploading it on certain sites, Facebook, maybe YouTube. You can get it all off the Broken Helm page.
Yes.
And so that's the game plan from the future. I think that the streaming with the video games is going to be a much more consistent and enjoyable source to watch.
Mhm.
The podcast is still we're still trying to figure some things out with the podcast and get our footing underneath us. I need to do a lot better on research and topics and whatnot. But the actual streaming the video games, it's just gonna be me, Nick, and a few other people maybe on the party, just shooting the shit and having fun, and it's still a good dynamic, and I think it'll be fun to watch. So check it out next time when we do eventually do that. We'll let y'all know, and a couple of days in advance so that you can tune in and see how it is. But yeah, we're gonna call it a night there. Thank you for tuning in, and
Like and subscribe.
It's going on YouTube.
check out our merch.
Like and subscribe my YouTube page.
Yeah, like and subscribe.
Yeah.
Merch.
Merch. Yeah. Do you guys want? You guys will have merch eventually. Yeah, I'm gonna do 2 Junkies shirt. I think people will buy that, right?
Yeah.
2 Junkies, 1 podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Think people will wear that?
That
Or
was
is it, like,
not
too
a
much?
very. It was not a very convincing.
Thinking our merch was just gonna be drugs.
Uh-oh.
No.
I just sell
All right.
drugs.
Yeah, we just sell drugs.
Whatever. You guys start generating cash. I don't care.
My asshole itches.
All right. Still alive.
Oh my god.
That's metamorphosis, not evolution, by the way. So yeah, it's like you're alive for an hour. Exactly.
Nice.
My bad.
Okay, I'm going home.
Okay, we're going home.
Cool. I'm gonna clean up everything I set up.
Good.
Yeah. Go on by myself.
Good. Are you trying to make us feel bad?
How about we stay and help?
Are you trying to make us feel bad?
If you want to stay and help, what?
I mean, you want to take Nick home?
No, Travis. This is a group effort. Stay
you have somewhere to be.
Yes.
What?
Where?
In my bed.
And for what?
He wants to
You
go
can-
home and watch Diablo.
You can grab
Or
a
play
light.
Diablo. Diablo.
It takes all of like 10 minutes if 3 people do it at the same time. You can just basically dump everything on the table and the couch. I have to.
Dump on your couch.
Hey, yeah. Got new cords. I don't know if you noticed. It's
Oh,
exciting.
yeah, I did notice actually.
And you got a new your your headphones no longer have to be plugged into the interface. Like, I don't even remember that. It was like
Yeah.
I wanted to be right next to you. I got to look at this thing. This thing's super cool. It's a female stereo. So because it can extend anything. Basically, your
nice.
headphones.
Were you using an interface to extend?
No, I had the interface next to you because I didn't have a headphone that would reach. So the headphone cords that plug into the JBLs are
Yeah.
specific to JBL or like those type.
Really?
It's that super tiny, one.
Yeah.
The like 16th inch. And I want to. Can afford to.
What do you want to bring in there?
Just everything. You just disconnect it and bring it in. Or you can wrap cords. You know how to wrap cords, right?
No.
Okay. So I was gonna tell you for the future, for whenever you do, you twist the cord as you run a circle to until it wants to lay properly. And that way it extends the life of your cord.
So wait. So
Well, you don't have to do it for that.
Oh.
Yeah.
for like longer